Welcome to the beautiful world of Elizabeth Bradley, where every kit is assembled by hand to ensure we deliver the highest quality tapestry kit available on the market. In this beginner video for right-handed stitchers, we will demonstrate and discuss everything you need to know to make your stitching experience successful. Using one of our new starter kits inspired by our Mille Fleurs collection, these single flower motifs are the perfect project for stitchers new to Elizabeth Bradley. Unique to Elizabeth Bradley, our kits are stitched in Victorian cross stitch, a type of sewing stitch designed to be as easy for both right-handed and left-handed stitchers alike. Each of our kits comes with a digitally stitched printed canvas, a full-size colour chart, a generous amount of Elizabeth Bradley tapestry wool, a wall colour card, needles and full instructions. Once you receive your kit, it is a good idea to remove all the contents and spread them out on a table. In this particular video, we will be using a brighter background colour to ensure you can see the stitching. Your kit comes with our winter white background. The easiest way to begin is to separate all the wool by colour. Do this by matching the wool to the numbered wool colour card. The numbers on this card correspond to the numbers on the chart card and down the side of the printed canvas. To avoid confusion, we suggest tying a small piece of each colour of wool matching to the corresponding printed square on the canvas. Each design is printed on 10 count interlock canvas. 10 count means there are 10 holes to every inch of canvas. This canvas is strong yet remains pliable to handle. Elizabeth Bradley wool is a 4-ply durable tapestry wool. Lengths are pre-cut for easy use. Once you have sorted your wool by colour, it's time to move on to the canvas. Each canvas comes with 4 hash marks defining the area to be stitched. For our starter kits, the stitching area is 3 inches by 5 inches or 30 rows by 50 rows. In order to ensure accuracy, it is important to count the rows between the hash marks both horizontally and vertically. Tie a waist knot at the end of the thread and anchor down and away from the hash mark. Start counting 10 rows across the canvas and taking your needle to the back of the canvas. Count the next 10 rows, bringing the needle to the front of the canvas, continuing until you reach the second hash mark, ensuring you have counted 30 rows across horizontally. Repeat the same process, working up the side of the canvas for 50 rows. Now it's time to get started. The beauty of Victorian cross stitch is that it results in equal pull left and right, preventing distortion. By working the canvas in hand, there is no need for stretcher bars or a frame. To begin stitching, again tie a waist knot at the end of the thread. Leave this knot on the front of the canvas an inch or so from where you want to begin. Starting at the bottom of the canvas, work the stitches horizontally from the right corner of the canvas and work across to the left side. Stitch the first stitches over the anchored thread, keeping the needle in a horizontal position on top of the canvas. This is referred to as the sewing method. Once you have stitched over the waist knot, snip the knot off and discard. Please note, waist knots are only used when you do not have a place to anchor the thread. Don't pull the wool too tightly. Aim to stitch with a relaxed, even tension. When you reach the end of a row, do not discard the remaining thread. Instead, use it to start the next row. When starting a new row, there is no need to make a waist knot, as you now have a place to anchor the thread. Once you reach the end of the row, turn your canvas over and thread your needle through the back of the fibres of a few completed stitches. We suggest 6 to 8 when finishing the row. Snip the thread and start the next row directly above the first row. Do not discard the thread when you have either reached the end of the row or finished a particular area. This is important as you work the canvas to stagger where threads are started and ended. Starting a new thread consistently above where another has ended will result in a vertical line which will definitely show on the front of the canvas. For the second row and subsequent rows, use a locking stitch to anchor the thread. Just as you ended the thread, you will run your thread through the fibres of several stitches and then come back through the last stitch. This will ensure that the thread is locked securely in place. Moving on from the background, we will now start working on the design. The design is made up of various coloured areas, some large and some just a few stitches. Aim to work as much as possible of an area of one colour before moving on to the next. Plan your stitching around the pattern to avoid switching colours as much as possible. Build up the design like this, moving from one part of the design to the next. Where the design is over just a few rows, it is perfectly acceptable to run your needle back through the row of stitches, coming back up on the right hand side to start the row above. No need to cut and anchor the thread in order to start the next row. Working single vertical rows such as stems or veins in leaves requires a slight variation to the traditional stitch. We recommend using the reverse Victorian cross stitch. The reason for this is that if the row is worked using the Victorian cross stitch, stacking each stitch on top of the one below, the cross stitch will start to look leggy, resulting in uneven cross stitches. To stitch a row in the reverse Victorian cross stitch, start by rotating the canvas 90 degrees anti-clockwise. When working the reverse stitch, you will always work away from the stitched area towards the open or unstitched area. Using the reverse stitch will ensure stitches are consistent in both shape and direction. Unlike the Victorian cross stitch, the reverse stitch begins at the top of the stitch as opposed to the bottom. There is no need to worry if you make a mistake. If it is just a few stitches, then unthread the needle and undo the work back to the error and then continue. For larger areas, you can snip through the incorrect stitches with a fine pair of pointed scissors and unpick the bits of wool. Take care not to cut through the canvas threads. If you struggle threading wool through a needle, our Elizabeth Bradley needle threader will make this a breeze and you'll never have to worry about splitting the wool again. A fine pair of scissors are essential for needlepoint. Our Victorian inspired stalk scissors come with a pretty length of ribbon, ideal for keeping track of them either around your neck or in your kit bag. To avoid dropping or losing needles, we would suggest using one of our high strength needle magnets on your canvas or kit bag. No more searching for lost needles. Having extra needles is a must. You should never be without a spare. Our 10-pack size 20 needles are an absolute kit necessity. Keep your wool colours neat and in order with our acrylic wool organiser, making storing and finding the right shade easy. When you finish your piece, check out our finishing page on the website. This gives lots of information and inspiration to create a finished piece that will look beautiful in your home. For more helpful tips, follow us on social media and refer to the blog on our website.